है। और जब हम प्यार की बात करते हैं तो जब प्यार सरहदें नहीं देखता तो हम क्यों क्लाइंट बेस को भारत की सीमाओं पे बांधे। इसी बात को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमारे साथ आ रहे हैं नरेश शर्मा जी। He'll be speaking on how to increase global business. इन्वेस्टमेंट का स्कोप सिर्फ इंडिया तक नहीं, वेल्थ क्रिएशन को बॉर्डर्स की ज़रूरत नहीं है। सो शर्मा सर इज़ द फाउंडर ऑफ ग्रुप प्रमोटर शर्मा वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट कैनेडा, मैनेजिंग AUM ऑफ अप्रॉक्स ज़्यादा नहीं 700 मिलियन कैनेडियन डॉलर with over 20 years of experience in wealth management. He is a certified financial planner. He specializes in retirement, tax strategies, estate planning, and global wealth creation. Please, can we have you on stage? Can we have a big round of applause? ये business कैसे बढ़ाएंगे उस पर बात कर रहे हैं तो एनर्जी बहुत सारी चाहिए. Over to you, sir. Please.
My presentation will not be driven by slides, but I will share my 25 years of experience. When I finished my MBA in Amritsar, this is the city where I used to come every day with my resumes in hand. And I was taught, once you finish your MBA, you will have 5 job offers and you have to cherry pick. And the goal was leaving a village and building a Bangalore in Delhi. But I was totally wrong. That I learned after 20 years. So wealth without purpose will not give you peace. AUM is not the goal. When your clients will say, I want to be a part of Sharma Wealth Management, that should be the goal. And that goal, to reach that place, it's not easy. One has to prepare himself or herself. My wife was a lecturer, and I was an accidental financial advisor in Canada. Because from this city, I got a job offer in 1996 to join Unit Trust of India Investor Services in Mumbai. That's where my journey started. And my father, who used to be a banker, was very proud of me. That at 27, my son became an assistant vice president. But in 2000, I came back to Amritsar and told my dad, I'm leaving the job and I'm going to Canada. We didn't speak for 5 years because he wasn't happy. Now, why I went to Canada? I think that most of the delegates know that in Punjab, if a mother has 3 sons, one will be doing the farming, second will be in the Indian Army, and the third will be in Canada. And that I've seen in my childhood. And it was not purpose-driven immigration. It was just following the crowd. And to my surprise, when I landed there, I was hoping I will get a job in a bank as a clerk. At least I'll use my skill and work ethics, and one day I'll become a branch manager of a bank. But my first job was a gas station attendant. I had a 3-year-old daughter, a wife who resigned from a reputed college in Mumbai as a commerce lecturer, living in a basement from a 1 BHK in Mumbai. I had no choice but to rediscover myself. Because once you make the decision, doesn't matter it's right or wrong, it's your job to make the decision right. So I started as a financial advisor, and the commission rate was very decent there, 4%. I said, that's good. In Mumbai, we only pay 0.5%. I'm getting 4%. So how do I build this practice? Door knocking and cold calling. And I was also told to sell left and right. Of course, that's what this industry is all about. AUM, AUM, AUM. But I'll share something with you guys. We go to a shopping mall today and probably pay 3 times of the same product Do you get that experience when you visit a kirana shop in your neighborhood? Your kirana shop owner knows you very well. He has a product shelf, probably equal to the same number of mutual funds you have in the industry. And what the shopkeeper says to the customer when they show up to his shop in the morning, और सर बच्चे कैसे हैं, दादाजी कैसे हैं, आज दूध के साथ और क्या लेके जाओगे? So I think you should know your product. I'm not deviating from that side. You should be having a mastery in your product shelf. But don't try to compete with the fund managers. Let them do their job. Your job is not to chase the return. That is fund manager's job. You hold them accountable if they're not delivering. Because ultimately, the fund manager's job is because of your work. And your job is not fund manager's job. Your job is to service the clients. Your job is to understand your customer, the family composition. When somebody hands you SIP, which we call in Canada as a dollar cost average, what they give it to you is the hard-earned leftover saving. You're going to chase that saving with the return, you're playing with the money. You understand their goal. Talk to the customer, what's the purpose of the saving? If that customer is not able to, you call as a client, if your client is not able to identify the goals, help him or her the goals. Because the beautiful thing about India is, we don't save money to become rich. We save money to make our next generation well educated. We want to see our daughters happy going to their in-laws' home. We also want to see our daughters playing the same play field, level play field in the marketplace today. I'll share with you, in my team, I have a 65 representation of women advisors. And I'm surprised here, the land, Delhi, is not Delhi, it was Indraprasth. The whole Indian heritage for the last 5,000 years plus has been decided from this place. And today, what we see in India is the work of yesterday. Our journey, which is the last leg of our life now, is to hand over the torch to the GenZs. And your job is to take this country, not a third largest economy, but a number one civilization. We will automatically become a third largest economy, that's just bound to happen. But what the other two economies don't have, what we have, is the cultural heritage. Why I became successful in Canada, not because I was a hard worker. Hard work doesn't play alone. This was missing there in the mutual fund industry, what you can see on the slide. When I started talking and giving presentations, my own ethnicity followed me. And I'm proud to say, if I have some assets under management, 60% of my client base in Canada is Indians. Because they were not able to get the level of connectivity in the marketplace. And it's not the fault of the Canadian financial advisors either. Every certified financial planning course teaches you a comprehensive wealth management. But the Indian clientele was missing one thing, and that was their wealth aligned with their culture. If a client goes to an advisor that I want to save this money for my daughter's wedding, the advisor doesn't understand. Why you have to save money for your daughter's wedding? And my friend Paul is sitting here. It took him 5 years to understand why we have to save money for my daughter's wedding. My daughter is getting married this year, and we've been saving for that marriage when she was born in Amritsar. So what we did at Sharma Wealth Management, we brought that heritage back into the boardroom, into the meeting rooms, into the kitchen tables, and into the offices. So you build the portfolio, not this is the rate of return we're going to achieve. You first establish the goals. If you have $100 to invest, $25 may be required in the next 3 years, and 50 may be required in the next 10 years. And the 25 may not be needed till your retirement. So you allocate, my first speaker said, small cap. That 25, I'll put in that small cap. And India is the best place for the small cap because the startups are happening. Let the fund manager do the job to find those biggest startups which will become the another fortunes of the world. And interestingly, if you know the art of allocating and diversification of the portfolio, and you have fun and passion, you will enjoy. This is the best industry, I'm telling you. So what happened to us? I started cold calling and door knocking, and 3 years I built 35 million assets under management. Now the Canadian regulator said, we will recognize your MBA. It was not recognized before. You don't need any accreditation for Canadian universities anymore. We understand you are a real MBA. I said, I won't understand that till you put on my business card. I was told to change my name from Naresh to Nick. I refused. Because if you lose your original identity, you're just a rolling ball. So what we did, we built a team. Because you're not a salesman or a sales girl. You're a financial advisor. You have the complexities which people don't understand. You might have a CEO of a tech firm who might be earning 100 crores a year, but may not have that level of knowledge when it comes to wealth building. Let him focus in his career and help him minimize his tax bill, build his short-term, medium-term, and long-term portfolio. And that can be done by creating an amazing, passionate team. So I think my first step to all my friends here is build a team. And don't hire employees. Find the right one who love to service clients. When they love to service clients, you service your employees. You know, I heard the things, the maids. I'll share with you, less than 4% Canadians can afford maids. And we are not far away. When the per capita income grows here, we will also have a hard time finding those maids. And I understand what's happening in Mumbai already because the level of incomes are growing every year. So it will be a very nice idea if we start from our home, from the bedroom. When you wake up in the morning, tidy up your bed. Go to your kitchen and try to make 1 cup of tea for yourself and your wife if she's not working. You will see the happiness on her face, which she has been serving you tea for the last 15 years, 5 years, or 10 years. You start the day by saying thank you to her, that whatever I'm able to do in the marketplace today, because you take care of the rest of the things which I don't have to think about. My wife was doing the same thing in Canada. After 3 years, I realized she can't be staying in the kitchen at the home anywhere. So I told her to come and join me and get your licensing. So she became not my life partner, but my business partner too. And this is here she is in the picture. Our journey from 2002 to 2005, we went up to 150 million in assets management. And in 2008, we saw the financial crisis. So my second tip, you rise above in crisis. If the market crash, that is the biggest opportunity. If you miss next 10 years of the cycle. In 2008, I bought 240 million at a 40% discount. By 2012, I was sitting at 1.2 billion. But my client base was average 50,000. I had 10,000 clients or maybe 5,000 clients, staff of 98, maybe 12 certified financial planners. And I was fortunate that I hired Paul. Paul, it was his second career. We became friends. He was one of my managers. And in 2014, he comes to me, he said, you got to leave this business and start all over again. I said, Paul, I've done already 2 times. I'm already 45. You're asking me to go again? He said, you have the capacity to service $5 million and above clients. I'm not saying this middle class and lower middle class is a bad clientele. You have served them for 17 years. But it's time to align your level of knowledge with the services you can provide to that level of clientele. It was very difficult to depart. Very difficult. So my third tip is, don't be afraid of change. So we sold 900 million. And we moved out of the franchise model and became independent. And Paul followed me and he said, I'll stay with you. 95% of our clientele followed us. An average client with Sharma Wealth Management is 15 years plus. So I think that's what will be next suggestion. If your service models are strong, your SIPs are strong, your client segmentation is amazing, you got to segment your client and segment your team. I have 15 financial advisors today, and I want to share with you, all of them are my assistants. But after spending 5 to 10 years, they elevated themselves to the next level. 5 years ago, I hired 2 brilliant young people, one from Mumbai who just left ICICI as a compliance officer, and a young man who left Haryana, the city called Karnal, I believe, to pursue his master's in Canada, and I hired them as a co-op student. Today, that young man is 28 years old and independently managing my practice of 500 million. And why he's managing, and he's a CFA as well. So you got to have a team who's passionate about servicing, passionate about educating, and not afraid of taking a call. And next, this slide tells my journey, the journey within. In 2017, my mother passed away in Amritsar. And I was here. And before she left the world, and she told me, you have done extremely well. A farmer's son, a bank clerk's son, who falls into the top 1% Canadian income. But I don't see you happy. And I said, Mata, I'm not happy. Because I was taught that my education is only to earn money. And I earned a lot of money, but I'm not happy. And she said, go and find yourself. You haven't found yourself yet then. And that age was, my friends, 48 years of age. So I couldn't figure out who am I till 48. I only became the one the world wanted to see me. So don't be the one what the world wants to see you. Be the one who you want to be. So the journey within is you look inside. And I asked my mother, I said, give me one tip before I deep dive into myself. Because you gave me the birth. Nobody knows me better than you. And she said, I don't know how many degrees and experience and clients you have. I'm just a village lady going to leave this world. But I can tell you, from the childhood, you love your country. So do something for the country if you can. So she left. In 2021, I asked Paul, I said, I need to go back to India. And he said, you're kidding me? Your children are born, raised here. You have a large clientele. You may look Indian, but you don't behave like an Indian. How will you go there? I said, no, I need to go. I need to go and share this knowledge and leave the legacy in my homeland. And everyone said, even my Indian friends, you're an idiot. You see the air in Delhi? You see this? So that next knowledge I will share with you my own journey. There are two types of people in your world and in your journey. The dream makers and the dream killers. They will come in any form. They may be your best friend, maybe your best client. They may be your best partner in life. Stay away from the dream killers. Don't argue. The Bhagavad Gita says one thing. Everyone has their own truth. We only justify our truth. And when we try to impose our ideology on others, it becomes a vivad. It's not a communication. You value each other's truth, it becomes a samvad. When you talk to your clients, try to understand their truth. And you will start enjoying this business. So after 3 years of study in the Indian marketplace, looking to take a stake in any mutual fund company, because I was born mutual fund. I haven't done anything in my life other than mutual funds. And then we were trying to take a place in the board, but didn't have the resources to infuse that kind of capital where I can take a place in the board. And fortunately, I met another friend, through a common friend, who shares the same values, who is a big believer of Bhagavad Gita, probably from age 4 or 5, and he was heading ITI mutual funds as a CEO. He taught me Gift City in 2024. But before that, I want to share something else. India is a land of seekers. So maybe it's time for the Gen Z to look into our heritage in the world of AI. I took a journey to Kailash Mansarovar in 2024. And that was my journey. I got all the answers in that 16 days hiking trip, walking around 100 kilometers, 3 days, 54 kilometers without food, just a water. And then I found I have two choices. Either I give my life here and stay with the Lord Shiva forever, or I surrender all my ahankar and go back to my nation and start contributing. There is a havan going on in India. I'm a Brahmin by caste, so I have to speak Kannada language. इस हवन में सबकी जिम्मेवारी है कि हम अपनी अपनी आहुति दें, अगर हमें इसको फिर से सोने की चिड़िया बनाना है. And biggest thing we all will find is our own limitations. And the limitations are because we are afraid of change. Think about the companies before Apple. They decided not to change, and there was a company which was known for photography. And they were so arrogant that they are irreplaceable. From Japan, I know who I'm talking about, probably all of you know. They don't exist today. But the companies who adapted the change, they're still in the Fortune 500 companies. And one of them is IBM. The IBM started with the calculators and is competing with today's AI world. So I think nobody can teach us more than ourselves. And the greatest obstacle we all carry is the fear. Swami Vivekananda said something. The moment fear comes close to you, destroy it. Otherwise, it will destroy you. We live a life like this. You know why we live a life like this? Because this life is purposeless. Once you find the purpose, you don't have to push anymore. And that purpose I found in Gift City, which Hitesh will be taking on after me and explain you what we started in Gift City last year. We started our own fund management entity, and I created a model with help of Hitesh that You earn in dollars in India and you spend in rupees. So you don't have to cross the borders to immigrate and leave your own heritage and get the money and struggle to save your identity. So we introduced the company called Risa Wealth out of Gift City. And I will end up my presentation on Risa Wealth by introducing my CEO, but I'll end up, what's the meaning of Risa? It's 4 Vedas. So our foundation for investment philosophy will be on Vedic values, not on sales values. So thank you everyone. I hope you got some ideas. Thank you.
तालियां रुकनी नहीं चाहिए, हर ताली पे 1 करोड़ बढ़ेगा AUM। जोर से तालियां। हाँ हाँ।